The first of Sunday's features the Group 3 National Day Cup. This is down the straight 1,000 metres here. Group 3 contest headed by Mr. Stunning, the joint highest rated horse here in Hong Kong. Unbeaten, 2 out of 2. Course and distance 2. Peniophobia, he'll roll from barrier 8. Amazing Kids, he won this race last year. He's also unbeaten, 2 out of 2 of course and distance. DB Pin is the third of the John Size runners. Fabulous One, he'll get going from barrier 3. Magic Legend, plenty of speed from him as well in barrier 2. And all the way down to Jet Wings. He's off a lightweight here. Good course and distance record, but this is a different grade, of course. It
certainly is. Peniophobia, though, is a pretty regular go-forward candidate, even in these races over 1,000 metres. Fabulous One is a regular leader too. DB Pin, I'm sure, won't be too far away. Generally speaking, you don't want to be too far off the pace down the straight 1,000 metres.
Yeah, looks like it's going to be a good pace, as normally is, down the straight 1,000. Mr. Stunning, he looks good. His form sort of just dropped away in his last start at the back of last season, but he's come back bigger and stronger, and he's, as Andrew said, he's the top-rated or joint top-rated horse here in Hong Kong at the moment. His work's been good, and he's not listening to me with Dashing Fellow. Not listening to me, you can see he's really keen here. Tommy Berry, he trolled. His troll was just okay, so I thought I'd show this as well, just to show that his work hasn't been too bad, even though he only trolled okay. Not listening to me, and here's the two of them. They're good friends off the track. Go and have a beer together, and you can see they work together here and doing it nicely as well. And again, not listening to me, he's got the wood over Dashing Fellow as well. So not a bad piece again from him. So I'm just about, you know, the trial, you take it with a grain of salt. DB Pin, he was so good last year, wasn't he? And he loves the straight 1,000, as we know. He's a really nice horse, and his work's been not too bad as well. You can see he's nice and relaxed in that first bit. The second piece, the same. This was back on the 27th of September. He's had 2 nice pieces of work as well. Has DB Pin, so he's going to be very tough to beat. Current favourite as well, Andrew, at 3:30.
Yeah, he is carrying a bit of weight, but I think he carries it well. Of course, DB Pin, trained by John Size, as is Amazing Kids and Mr. Stunning. And these are his thoughts as he spoke with Ed Sadler.
John, looking at the National Day Cup, you've got 3 runners there. Start off with Mr. Stunning, obviously champion Griffin from a couple of seasons ago. How's his preparation been?
He's been fine. He hasn't had any problems. He's healthy and well. He's sound, and his trials have been good. So, you know, I'd expect him to run somewhere near his best the first day out. 133
pounds on the weekend. Is that a concern for you?
Yeah, of course. Handicap's a handicap. That's what it's all about. But it's a very strong race. It's some of our better horses that in a handicap situation, which we don't see very often. It's certainly an intriguing and interesting race because of that. And I think, you know, it'll be an exciting event.
Mention the weight. Does the weights really bring DB Pin into it, do you think?
You would think so. It's always going to be a matter of handicap. So on that mark with a horse that's 111, and he's got such a good track record that he should have more in him. So you'd be expecting him to get some prize money in the race.
But Amazing Kids won this race 12 months ago. How do you compare him now to how he was then?
He was probably a better horse last season at the beginning of it, but I wouldn't sort of give up on him yet. He's got the experience, and he's certainly got a proven record, and he's good fresh. So, you know, if he has a good campaign this year, he's capable of winning another feature.
It's great to see these 3 horses locking horns, but as John said, it's a handicap, isn't it? So, Mr. Stunning, yes, best horse, but all the way.
Yeah, that's the question, mate. Can he give 17 pounds to a horse like DB Pin and beat him? That's the conundrum you've got to weigh up.
Indeed, and we'll see a race very shortly where DB Pin, getting weight, finished ahead of Mr. Stunning, albeit over a different trip. But yeah, I think it's going to be tricky for him.
Yeah, well, I think that Mr. Stunning, the way he's been trialling of late, I mean, it's just looked outstanding, but it is that weight that he's got to give away. Now, bear with me for this one, because we've got a whole host of them in here to have a look at. This is the Sha Tin Vase. Fabulous One out in front at this point. We know he'll probably be trying to do something similar, get in front. Not listening to me, he was unlucky maybe in this race last year. We've got Strathmore, well, that's Magic Legend. Strathmore in behind him. DB Pin travelling very strongly. And then right at the back, we've got Amazing Kids and Mr. Stunning. And in the end, there wasn't a great deal between them. It was a very close finish.
Yeah, it was a very good race, this one, wasn't it? You can see those Olympic rings that you just drew. There's plenty of runners that are in this particular race as well. So, look, I'm expecting a really good race. Obviously, this is round the bend, and it's a straight 1,000 now.
Well, Fabulous One stacked them up here as well. He went quite slowly through the middle part of the race, which might not have suited one or two of them. But I thought the biggest run here was from DB Pin. This was his first time in sort of group company. And although he had a lightweight, I thought he really stepped up and he stayed on really well. And to me, this marked him out as definitely a group horse for this particular season. Not listening to me, battling on, that bodes well for this particular assignment at Sha Tin. So Mr. Stunning, yeah, he struggled to give the weight on this occasion, but I still think he's going to run well.
Magic Legend looked gone, then he fought on again. They've been up to 1,400. He's got lots of speed, back to 1,000. How does he fit in?
Well, his wins have been over 1,000, haven't they? Well, you know, he won really well over 1,000, I should say. So, look, I expect a good run from him. I just wonder about Mr. Stunning, whether he was coming to the end of his campaign there. And he has been freshened up and he is going well.
OK, well, a couple of the same horses in here once more. We've got Fabulous One. Again, he's on the sharp end here. Magic Legend once more, and Strathmore at the back, who's probably going to be the outsider of the field.
Yeah, well, Strathmore at his very best could run well here, but he hasn't really produced that now for over 12 months, so you'd be concerned about that. Magic Legend, 1 or 2 question marks now, given the way he's gone. The problem with Magic Legend, I think, was he went so rapidly up the weight. That's kind of probably worked against him. A Fabulous One was well touted for this race. I think he'll go OK, but I think of these 3 are all, I think, from a weights perspective and the trip, they're all a little bit up against it. Yeah,
look, I've managed to put Fabulous One in because I think he can lead a merry dance at 20 to 1. I've got him in on a place line. I think he can lead for a long period of this race.
Of course, you had Blizzard in there. He'll be competing in Group 1 in Japan, and Seasons Bloom was an outstanding performance, and he's obviously in the next race.
He's in the next race, and I don't think Fabulous One gave it completely away. So I'll give him a chance on a place line.
All right, OK, so it might be a bit of a long shot there. We're at the trials now, and Peniophobia, we know what he's capable of. He's out in front at this point. The other horses to take note of, we've got Jet Wings back on the rail, doing it quite comfortably. We've also got Strathmore once then. We've covered him well here, Strathmore. Not listening to me in the middle. And the final one is Dashing Fellow, who's an admirable horse, but this has got to be on the short side for him.
Well, he's a 1,400-metre specialist, Dashing Fellow, so I think it's going to be tough for him. Peniophobia should go well, although he has been quite well beaten in these sorts of races in the last season. Jet Wings, for me, is an interesting one here. He's trialled enormously here. Now, he's a slightly delicate type, and he doesn't always put 2 good runs together. But that race he won at Happy Valley towards the back end of last season was a really strong one, off a strong pace. He's run well down the straight 1,000 before. He's hitting the line really well here, and I think from a good draw, lightweight, albeit he's well out the handicap, I think he can go well at a big price.
Yeah, and Lucky Bubbles in that trial as well. So again, it was a very good lineup.
Yeah, it was a good trial, and the only thing, a little question I got about Jet Wings, he is out of the handicap, isn't he? Because he is 95.
OK, so that's the key word here, handicap. Who's handicap best?
Well, I've tossed and turned over this for a long period of time between the 2 John-sized runners, and I ended up coming back to class. So I went with Mr. Stunning to beat DB Pin. Not much between them at all. I wouldn't be surprised if it's the other way around, but I did go Mr. Stunning to beat DB Pin. Fabulous One, I think, will give them a nice, merry something to catch, and not listen to me in for 4. So I'll go QQPs with the 2 favourites and Fabulous One just to spice it up a bit. 1, 5, 7 and 3.
Yeah, I've got both those 2 in, but I'm going to go with the young pretender, DB Pin, on top. I think he's got a really good chance at the weights, and I think he looks like the type of horse to me who'll be competing at Group 1 level before the season's out, and if he's to be that, he's got to win here. Jet Wings, I think, for the reasons I gave, I think can give you a good sight at a decent price. Mr. Stunning's got to go well, and don't totally forget, not listening to me, he won this race 2 seasons ago, and he also followed up in the Sha Tin, the other Sha Tin 1,000-metre Group 3 race later on that campaign, so he does like the 1,000 metres, and I think he could go quite nicely at a price too. But DB Pin for me.
Yep. DB Pin for me as well, but I think Mr. Stunning will certainly, even with all that weight, will give him something to think about. Brett Preble will be a guest on Hong Kong Direct this week. He'll be riding Amazing Kids, of course, in that sprint, last year's winner, and Contentment in the Celebration Cup as well. So HK Direct, that on the website at Multimedia Showcase. We'll have a look at the next feature race in a second as well. And the big guns are out. Beauty Only, of course, HKIR mile winner from last season. He was beaten by Contentment in the Champions Mile at the back end of last year. Brett Preble in the saddle once more. Seasons Bloom, breathtaking on his seasonal return last time out. Could it be Booming Delight? Had a fabulous year himself. He makes his way back to Sha Tin on Sunday.